Hello and welcome to another tutorial. Here we want to check one of the iPad apps that helps you to animate roughly. We want to check Rough Animator. Before you can use this app, you should buy it from App Store, and it means that you should pay for it and the subscription is permanent. Without losing a second, let's jump through the app. At first, you see two options: new project and new folder. They added new folder option recently in the last update. Before that we had just new project option. Although you know what new folder option does, so let's select new project. As you can see, we have some options like name, frame rate, camera size and margins. Let's enter our project name and choose a frame rate for it. To choose your camera size and margins, answer this question: you wanna move camera in your shot or it is stable? If it is stable, the margins should be set to 0 and camera size will be what you like. But if you want to move your camera in shot, so consider to set margins for your shot. We'll check camera move in this video, so we set a margin for that. Now click OK and you have your empty project. You have 4 spaces in the app. The first one is your drawing area, that is the biggest part of a screen. Second is timeline, that you configure your frames there. Third is tools option, where you can customize your tools there. And the last one is sidebar, that key elements are there. Just consider that you can turn on and off timeline and tool option from here. First, let's go to tool options panel to select with which brush you wanna draw. Be sure that tool options is active from sidebar so you can see it. At the top you can change the color, or you can use eyedropper to select a color from your drawings. Under that you can select brush shape or add brushes you want from here. I choose third one because I have better feelings with it. As you can see, my brush is small, so we can change the size from here and check if pressure sensitivity is on or off. I usually turn it off, but it depends on you that you wanna focus on your pen pressure or not. If you turn it on, so with more pressure you put on your pen, the brush will be bigger, and if you lower your pressure, the brush will be smaller. Here you can see the differences when pressure sensitivity is on or off. Next one is opacity, that everyone knows that it shows how much you want your brush to be transparent. But what is the difference between opacity and flow? Let's learn it by an example. We set both opacity and flow to 100 and draw a line, like this. Now we just lower opacity and set flow to 100 again. As you know, a line is a combination of dots and we call that dot shape a brush. When flow is 100 and we lower opacity, the line transparency totally decreases and you can't see the overlapping of brushes. But now let's reverse the setting. Set opacity to 100 and decrease flow. Now you can see each brush shape and their overlappings. So we can define flow as opacity of each brush. Now we go to next option, spacing. Let's see what's the spacing mean. Spacing is the distance between each brush. Let's learn it by an example again. Let's set it to 10 and draw a line, and then set it to 80 and draw a line again to see the differences. And the last one, smoothing. Set the smoothing for drawing more straight, nothing more. Just let's check it out. If we increase the amount, the app help us to draw more straight, and if we decrease that, the app won't help us and our line will be rough more. These were the options for brushes that you can modify and save them. If you want to save a brush, just hold the brush icon and then you can save your brush, like this. We have these options for eraser too, nothing more. Check it out. I will explain other two options later. Under tools you can see undo and redo options that are useless to me, because I use 2-finger tap for undo and 3 fingers tap for redo, just like Procreate. If it doesn't work to you, so you have to turn them on from setting and then turn it on from here. Absolutely, you know that with using 2-finger gesture you can zoom and rotate your screen. Now let's animate a simple loop bouncing ball to be more familiar with frames and timeline panel. I usually animate pose to pose and then come back and edit them. My bouncing ball has 5 simple poses. The 2 of them should be copied, so we have just 3 poses. A stable pose 1, a squash pose 2, and a stretch pose 3. We will talk about these poses in another videos. In this video we just want to check the Rough Animator, so let's go on. As we see in timeline, we are drawing in layer 1 and in the first frame. Okay, let's draw a simple stable ball here. Now if you want to go to next frame or create it, you can do it by selecting next navigation key that you can see here, or select add drawing and then select add after. See, now we have second frame in layer 1. Let's rename this layer to something else that we want, like ball rough. Okay, now we draw second and third pose. As you see, these are just poses, and now we have to draw betweens and in-betweens. From here we can add frame after selected frames from add drawing. From here to where I draw betweens, you will see video in time-lapse mode, because here we wanna learn the app, not animation principles. For learning principles, I made a playlist in my channel, check it out. In these frames we made a ball to fall on ground and stretch a little. Now we wanna make these frames reverse, an action that you need to do cycles. I usually do this technique to reverse my moves. Select your frames and name it from 1 to end from here. Now duplicate each frame with holding and dragging them up, then move it right. Now you see we duplicated frames that each of them has its unique tag. Now just drag each duplicated frame in reverse mode. Done. We made a cycle, but let's make a floor for this ball to fall on it. Look at timeline. If we wanna draw floor in ball's layer, so we have to draw it exactly in all frames that we made for ball. But we can make a new layer and then change its timing. From here, choose modifying layers and then choose empty layer. Change its name and then draw your floor on it. Now we have our floor layer just in 1 frame, so let's stretch it from here. From drawing's duration, you can change it easily how much you want your drawing's duration to stretch. One of the most important part in 2D animation is onion skin. This app have this feature, but I really don't like it because its setting accessibility is not good. You can just modify number of frames that you want from here, and the maximum number is 5, and that is really low. Another problem is onion skin's color, that you can change it from setting, and down here you can select which color you want, but there is just 3 colors. Come on. So choose red, green or blue. Now let's go to fill tool. Here we have our ball layer. Some artists and animators like to fill their stroke in another layer for upcoming edits, and some of them just fill in the same layer. If you want to color in another layer, so make another one and put it under your stroke layer, and then from here choose sample this and above. Now if you start filling it with color, another layer with sampling another one. Now let's check these 3 options. With the tolerance, you choose how much you want to emphasize on your samples. The lowest tolerance is the most accurate. Next ones are fill expand and fill blur, that you can understand them just by looking at this picture. Let me modify settings and color our bouncing ball so you can see the differences when we color a ball and when it is just a stroke. With coloring and adding some shadows and highlights, the result will be more satisfying. Now let's jump to last tool, the selection. That is the easiest one to use. With this tool, you can select, move, rotate, copy and paste. All you have to do is just to select a part with your pencil and then modify it. But here is the question, if we wanna move a part of all frames, what should we do? Here is the answer. You should select edit multiple from here and then select your frames and then work with selection tool, and after selecting an empty place all the changes will apply. This was a fast tutorial about Rough Animator and how you can start using it. With knowing the things I told, you can start using this app with no problems. And please don't expect too much from this app. With this app you can just animate roughly as its name saying to you. So animate roughly and then export it to some more powerful apps like TV Paint, Calipeg or others. I wish that you learned what you expected. Thank you all.